Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. Fajardo, and today I'm going to brief you about wills and forms. Have you ever thought about what happens to your stuff when you pass away? Your children, your property, even your pets? Well, today I'm going to talk to you about the things that you would need to write your will. Forms, booklets, things of that nature. I'm also going to talk to you about maybe a sort of template that you could use and what you need to include in your will, um, and what makes your will legal. First, let's talk about will templates. You got to choose something that helps you write your will. Most of the time, you want to do this in some type of typing format or a computer format versus a writing will, even though it's legal. It poses more problems because people can interpret uh, written gestures. In any case, you want to make a document that is typed. Um, this is, more than likely this is going to cause less trouble after your death. According to a source, the Northern Trust Wealth Advisor, um, forms are intended to provide a resource for drafting solutions for an array of estate planning scenarios. In any case, you want to make a document that is typed because although handwritten wills are permitted in some states, creating a formal typed document is less likely to cause trouble after your death. Something I just told you about. Forms are divided into different series. But you can use any type of forms that you choose as long as they're legal in your state. Flat forms. These are used basically blank documents that you can use to edit with your word processor. Statutory forms. Forms written into the laws of just a few states, not all states. And you can use will books. These books usually provide thorough instructions for filing out flat forms, and they also for additional information about estate planning. As you can see on this visual aid, wills and trust forms. Okay, the 100 series is wills, 200 series is revocable trust agreements for one settler, 300 series is revocable trust agreements for community property, and the 400 series is any miscellaneous forms that you have. No matter what type of template you prefer, just make sure that one is in clear, plain English so that everybody understands what you're trying to say. What to include in your will. No state specific requires specific language to make a will, but on free legal document it states you should make a new will when you should make a new will when any of your circumstance changes, such as the birth of a child, you get divorced, the change of property is changed, moving to a new address, etc., etc. You got to think about all the small things as well. There's another. Basically, this is will beneficiaries. What this is talking about, the executor. That's the person who handles your estate and does all your final wishes. The legal guardian. This is basically who's going to get your children if you have some and you're not married at that time. Property. This is how that property is going to be divided, whether it's to the state, to a charity, or to a loved one. And any debt payments, because again, everybody has debt in most cases, and creditors are going to want to be paid even though you have passed away. So, here are some things that you shouldn't try to do in your put conditions on your gifts. So basically, if you give something to somebody, you can't say, this is how I want you to use my car, or this is how I want you to use my house. Sometimes those are okay, but in most cases they're not. Leave instructions for final arrangements of how you want you to be handled. Most of the time your loved ones will decide on how you really want to be handled, and you can't really do anything about that after you've died. A big one that people try to do is insert pets in there. Some states are okay about it, some states are not. And then make arrangements for money or property to be left for another way. Again, your executor who handles your will is going to follow all your wishes to the best of his knowledge. As you can see, there's a lot that goes into the will. There are some things that should not be included in wills. Now we're going to go into making your will legal, should anything happen. After you use a template to write your will, you'll need to do a few things to make it legal. Based on the visual aids, finalizing your will, you got to sign your will. You got to ensure witnesses are present so that your will is legal. You got to notarize your will. And then any extras, self-providing affidavits if you want to write one and include it in there in order to make everything more legit. As you can see, there's a lot of steps in writing a will. And in most cases in today's world, there are the top 3 reasons why people don't write a will is procrastination. They feel it's unnecessary and sometimes too expensive. But in the long run, it can be a lot cheaper and a lot easier if you make your will and have it passed on the way you want. Siblings don't fight, parents don't argue, children don't argue, those sorts of things. Things you really want to avoid from causing family issues that may want to hate each other. I told you about the need for having a will in the event of your death. I've covered some of the different types of templates that you can use to create your will. Forms, books, those sorts of things. I've covered what the requirements were for making your will a legal document and what would stand up in court if you needed it. You should take the time out to create a will so that your family will not be fighting over the things that you have passed, and it will also let them know what you wanted and what your wishes were. I hope that you take this and you go out and you make yourself a will in order to portray and pass on everything, all your wishes on to your loved ones. Thanks.